Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another Star Citizen live stream. I know that there's been a lot of people asking me to do a video, a recap of the Citizen-Con live streams, because they're actually kind of long. They're like 7.5 hours. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play the what do you call it? The keynote address, because it has the best video footage, I think, while we talk about all of the different panels and videos that happened during CitizenCon. Some of them were not my cup of tea. Some of them were extremely exciting. Some were not. And I'll briefly go over those with you. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Boop, there we go. All right, so first thing, there was a number of videos, a number of live streams. They broke them down very well into like 1 hour chunks so that you could watch them 1 hour at a time. I thought that was extremely good, where it wasn't like a 3-hour stream and it was a little hectic. It wasn't. It was extremely well put together. Now, one of the videos was about the Pioneer. The Pioneer is supposed to be the game changer. Well, I don't look at it as the game changer. I know a lot of people are pining over it, pioneering over it. No, they're like, oh my God, the Pioneer, oh, it's the greatest. It's a base building ship. Okay, so it's a tool for you to place on a planet somewhere and build a base. First of all, that's awesome. That's extremely cool, but I don't consider that a game changer, because I could have swore that was a promised thing. There it is right there. I could have swore that was a promised thing since the beginning. We were going to be able to have org bases and things like this, and we were going to be able to own factories and what they would call hubs or nodes. Okay, so by them saying that this is a game changer, it changes it in the fact that they're not predetermined where they're at. We get to choose where we get to place our hubs, our manufacturing nodes. That's great. And I think that's pretty damn cool, actually. I can be exploring Goss for the 1st Naval Aerospace Squadron. We're exploring the system of Goss, and we find this really cool spot, waterfalls and trees and maybe a lagoon or something that just is very appealing to us. And then we say, hey, let's put down our base here of operations, and that would be really, really cool for us to be able to do that. We have plans on doing that, but we do not have plans on buying the ship. We're not going to back the game by buying the ship. That ship is relatively expensive for any one person to purchase. Our organization could probably purchase it, but then we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to buy it in-game. It's going to give us a goal. It's going to motivate us to have an objective to get this base building ship and plant it on part of this base. Now, understand that I turned the volume off of the videos because I didn't want them to interfere with what I have to say to you. This is just really for eye candy in the background. Okay, so the Pioneer seems like it's really cool. It's a big ship, 200 meters. You fly it to the squadron will look for a nice place to, or your organization will look for a place to plant it. You will plant it. It will start building buildings for you, like residences, farms, factories, uh, what do they call those things, like smelting or manufacturing buildings. That's really cool. But you can't, those don't, it doesn't just build them without the resources. So you'll have to ship in additional resources, metal or whatever, or something, for this ship to be able to build it. It has a cargo hold so that you can carry some of the resources to get you started, but you will need to continuously ship in or build it on top of a resource location so that you can actually mine the resources right there at the location. That sounds pretty cool. And then you will want to defend it by either building like automated turrets or hiring AI to guard the area or what have you, so that when you are away from your base, that other people like pirates or squatters don't come over and sit on top of your base and take over. Now, you could task people to stay behind, and I'm going to get into the reason why you might need to do that closer to the end of this presentation, this video that I'm making, because there's something about travel times, the extremely long travel times, that I have to share with you and give you my opinion on them. But it looks like Chris is really, on the video, he's like really talking about the live streamers and all that good stuff. Okay, next thing they showed was the Saber Raven. The Saber Raven comes, if you buy one of the Intel Optane drives, you get a Saber Raven. I have not seen anywhere else where you can back and get a Saber Raven, except that. So it's going to be very exclusive to the Intel Optane drive. If you, let me back that up. They might release that ship in the excuse me, I got hiccups. In the future, as one of their promotions, maybe the holiday live stream when they have all their ships on sale, they might introduce the Saber Raven as an option to purchase. But right now, it's not. It's only if you buy the Optane drive. And guess. Okay, there we go. Got the stream back up and running. For some reason, it was having an issue. It was dropping. It was disconnecting. I'm sorry about that. I thought about recording this on like video and then uploading it later, after some edits and stuff like that. But I said, no, let's just go ahead and live stream it, and that way it'll upload and I'll record it all at the same time. But okay, so the Saber Raven is supposed to be something a little bit like the Warlock. I think it's going to have like an EMP blast. It looked like it had an EMP interior that was going to, that'd be pretty cool, but I don't know. I mean, you know, it looks like a really cool ship, and they hired somebody to make like this 1/4 scale Saber Raven out in the front of the presentation, the convention site, which I thought was extremely cool. I wish I could have taken that home. That would be really cool. Put it in the front yard. Really not, because I really have nowhere to put it. I couldn't even put it in my garage. It would be that big. Okay, so never mind. And then they had some panels, and I'm going to briefly go over the panels because that's really not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this video you're about to see on the screen. But the panels, they had a panel for talking about the graphics. They had a panel talking about animation. They even had one talking about how they developed the Xi'an language and the Xi'an culture. And they had 5 or 6 panels that were really cool to watch. But they were kind of technical and they were kind of dry. But if you're really into Star Citizen like I am, you would enjoy those panels, and they're up on YouTube on their Star Citizen site. So you should, if you want to see them, go ahead and watch them. But really, the Xi'an language, they made a full language and they made it available to you, so you can actually download the entire language. And they're uploading pronunciation guides each week, I think, so that you can learn new sayings like "the beast is within" or something like that in Xi'an, which is pretty cool. Xi'an, or whatever. So now, they saved the best for last, which was the keynote address, which is this video you're watching right now. The keynote address, they talked about what, okay, in my opinion, first of all, let's back up. This whole convention, this whole presentation, 7.5 hours worth of video, really was well put together. It really put out a lot of good information for anybody that wanted to see what Star Citizen was about and what it's. This video would be this keynote address would be a video that I could show a friend that doesn't know anything about Star Citizen, and I could say, hey, check this video out. You'd understand what Star Citizen's all about just by watching this. Even though, there's not really any combat or anything like that in the game or in this video, but it would be really cool. Okay, so you see that they get started in ArcCorp, and they got the Saber Raven for sale in game right there. And I'm glad they don't have a 42 on it. It says 36. That's something a little bit different, which, okay, I'm good with that. But okay, you see AI walking around. You see that he's got Lorville on his to-do list way over there, 23 million kilometers away. Oh, wait, they showed one of the panels was about the IK, which is the how they merge animation with procedural animation, and it showed how the characters, when they look at you, they don't look at you like 100% of the time. They kind of every now and then glance away from you and stuff like that. It was really that one was one of my favorites, and the animation where they showed them how they walked on stairs and on slopes, how your foot laid flat on the dirt, no matter if it was a rock or a box or a slope or stairs, and how your body shifted weight, and your lower leg was straight and the upper leg was kind of a bent. Okay, look at this. Look at ArcCorp. ArcCorp they've done some work on it. Okay, they added a bunch of lights, a bunch of signs. But was really cool. You can see the night sky. It's not a skybox like it used to be. And see how that guy was kind of looking at you. And then there's AI wandering around doing their thing. It's still the same ArcCorp. It's just the signs are different, lighting's different, and I see a couple of girls walking around. Hey. But isn't that a chick right there? Okay, that we're walking past. But either way, so. Wet ground, it's been raining or whatever. It looks like a living city. Now, just by adding the people, it looks like a living city. Okay. What else? They show the procedural generation of the cities. When you go through customs, the door doesn't open until this gentleman over here clears you, making sure you're not carrying any weapons or whatever, But they do a procedural generation of the city. They got some people standing on chairs, but hey, what can you do? People will be people. And the door to the right there is open, where he can get out and see his ship, or he can see the landing zones, and you can kind of see the additional advertisements all over the place. Bearing's got a big support here, but I think that's just temporary. Yeah, I was really wanting to do a deep dive, take a look at all the different signs and see what this Sierra Hotel is and some of these other signs. But there's the Terrapin, they got it in engine, but I don't know if it's flyable. But there's the Terrapin. That looks pretty cool. It's a very small, squat little ship, it looks like. And right now, as you're looking at it, you're not super impressed, right? I'm not super impressed yet. I looked at all I see is additional signs, a skybox, you got ships flying around, more 3D graphics, and then look at that. You can see the mirror reflections in the windows. I thought that was really good. And then, of course, you're seeing the 2.0 how he enters the pilot seat. You know, the item 2.0 system where you pick and choose what you want to do in your ship. Also the like flight ready, power on, that kind of stuff. The joysticks, how that's the new set of joysticks, and how the visibility in the cockpit looks really good in the Aurora. I'm not an Aurora owner. I used to own an Aurora, but I did think that was pretty cool. The way the HUD, the MFDs look. But then he took off, right? And that's when it changed. Because he took off and he flew through the city. There was nobody telling him, you can't fly this way. There was no restrictions on autopilots, automatically flying you out of the city. He had total control of where he wanted to fly. Now, Chris mentioned subtly, he said, I don't know if we're going to let you do this. Because he's aware that there's dicks out there that are going to try to ram into that walkway or just try to make trouble for people. So I don't think everybody's going to get a chance to do this. I honestly don't. I think he's going to put a limitation on that. But look at this. We're flying through our core. We're flying next to these buildings. And then when you got the smoke coming out of the industry smokestacks. You got ads everywhere. It's he could land at somewhere else. He could land on one of these other buildings and get out if he wanted to. But they said something about they're not going to do interior. Oh, look at that. Look at that. They're not going to put interiors on all these buildings. It's really just for looks. It's for flying through. You're going to have specific places to go that are handcrafted. This is procedurally generated. It's like Bridger said, it's Sim City, right? You have a bunch of building blocks, literally, that they put in a grid, and then the computer builds the city. Now, they're not going to change it. It's not going to be procedurally generated differently every time you go to the city. It's always going to be the same. They only use that procedural generation to help them build the city for the first time. And then after that, it's all handcrafted. Off in the distance, in the left-hand quarter, the 11 o'clock, you see a mound. That's not really a mound. It's just taller buildings. That represents another area. They said that was Area 17. Look at the city. You got other people flying around. You got what do they call them? Colliders. What do they call those? What do they call those? Those circles down there. Those are particle accelerators for developing new technology and things like that. This guy flew by, And then, but there's going to be waypoints. Like you can see there's a waypoint directly to his front where he's got that circle, something's targeted. There's going to be waypoints on the city that you are able to go to, and it's not just going to be Area 18. It's going to be Area 17 and 16 and 15 or whatever. Now, when he flies by, it's like a hotel landing spot. There's somebody there, and he hollers out, welcome to Citizen-Con or whatever, just like last year. So he could fly around the city wherever he wants. Our core is one of the few planets, I think there's 2 or 3 planets that are like this, that are completely covered with a city. So they needed to come up with this kind of technology. Now they could take this very same technology and take it to a planet like Terra or even Earth, and they could procedurally generate certain cities like New York or Paris or whatever, just to fill it up with high-tech buildings. So the planets are coming along nicely is what I'm thinking. In a year or 2, you're going to have a lot of planets that have places to go on them. And that was extremely exciting for me because I'm an explorer. I like to get on boots on the ground and wander around and see what kind of shops there are. And I like to sometimes climb on top of buildings just because I can do that in a game, And seeing this is exciting. I would be one of those guys that would just land out in the middle of nowhere and see what I can find, Now he's flying into Area 17, kind of wanting to just show you what it is. Um, right now, I suspect it's just exterior for looks, but I can see where maybe they put a shop in, Kasaba Outlet or uh, not a Cryastu, but like a Astro Armada, so that you could buy a ship or something. I can see where they would put some of these places in there. I can see where they would put some offices in there as well, so that you could get like a mission giver, say, hey, come to my office and we'll talk about this mission that I've got or something. So that was super exciting. And our core just looks completely different, with its factories and the lighting and the signage and the people walking around. Okay, so he flies around here for a little while. I'm gonna let you kind of enjoy it, the scenery. Yeah, speaking of, I'm gonna jump back to the Pioneer Base Builder, the quote unquote game changer, which I don't really think is a game changer. I think it's just a continuation of the way the game was designed to be in the first place. It's expensive. It's like $750 for this vehicle, right? You don't have to buy it you don't have to back it. You don't have to back $750 and get this. You can wait till the game comes out and earn it in game. If you want to get one at the start of the game, get it. Back it. Don't cry about it. Just get it if you like it. If you don't like it, then don't get it. That's what they're not forcing anybody to buy it. So they could put $1 million price tag on there. If you want it, you'll buy it. If you don't want it, don't buy it. That's what I'm saying. So don't cry about the price. Doesn't that look good? Just flying by the buildings and stuff. That's pretty damn sexy in my opinion. Okay. So it's deliberately made expensive because they don't want everyone owning one. They don't want all 200 million people playing this game or whatever it is. They don't want every one of them having a base builder, so everyone has a base somewhere in the universe. They don't want that. They want it to be kind of selective and for orgs pretty much. Okay, now he's going up to that red spot, which is a space station. They put like a trade hub in orbit around ArcCorp, so you can go up to it. It's kind of like your gateway to space. Let me grab a sip of my coffee. Hang on. And so if you're an organization leader or you have an organization and you want to get one, then you get everybody in your organization to pitch in or something like that. And they wanted it to be expensive because of that. But because it's earnable in-game, everyone will be able to have their own. You'll just have to earn it. You just can't start with it. They don't want to have everybody building a base at the start when it goes live. You know what I'm saying? So I fully understand that. And I back them 100% when it comes to that. Unfortunately, I just can't afford to buy one right out the bat. I'm going to cry internally. Boo-hoo. But I definitely support them and understand why they would do that. Okay, Orbital Relay AC-421. That must mean Orbital Relay Arc Core 421. This is kind of like a Port Olisar. You know how Port Olisar is the hub above Crusader, where this is a orbital relay. I'm sure they're going to give it some kind of name or something. I don't know. This is just a placeholder, I'm sure. And they'll probably build it up a little bit more for ArcCore. And I bet you every planet has one. I think every planet does have one. It's kind of like where if you had a hull C, hull D or E, and you couldn't land on the planet, you needed to offload your cargo, you would go to this orbital platform, offload your cargo, and then somebody would take smaller vessels down to the ground or whatever, or you'd make your sails there. Yeah, so this is kind of like a kind of like a Port Olisar in a arc core way. If you notice when he flies up there, I don't what's his name, Neil or I can't remember his name, but when he flies up, you can see that again. There's tons of advertising. There's going to be signs for hotels and bars and it would be really cool if they would open up these shops for players to own, and then you could have like the Astropub or something like that on one of these types of bases. That would be pretty cool. Okay, so he lands and he almost goes inside, but just take that. Look down on the planet from here, and you got these arc core signs and stuff. You see the big circles out there on the planet. I'm just excited. Some people said that this was a little bit too low to be in orbit. Get over it. That's what I say. I think in the future you can be in orbit wherever you want. And it doesn't look too low. You know, depending on the gravity of the planet, it might be just where it needs to be, you know. And then maybe there's technology in this base that keeps it orbiting, keeps it elevated, like anti-gravity modules or something. Who knows? But I think that's pretty cool, you know. And then he's looking down on the arc core and that almost looks a lot like the original concept art. Now I'm looking at his armor. Check that out. He's got some pens and things on. He's got arms and then of course he's got the old P8 or whatever that is. But he's got all these like tubes and stuff on his thighs. Are those some kind of like health pens or medical things, or what are they? And then and he's not falling because he's in 0G. I guess he is falling a little bit. Look at that. He's below the base. So he needs to use his thrusters to get back up and get back on the base. And that's what he's doing now. But that's a cool looking little spacesuit. He's a little confused. Okay. See, there's a Dumpers Depot. There's some Sierra Hotel. There's an Anvil Aerospace sign. And he's back. You got your O2 on the left side. And he didn't drain any O2 just by walking around. You're not going to lose. His heart rate's going up because he's running. And yeah, so. And it looks like you could bring your ship in, maybe. And you could. There's a door there that takes you inside. He almost went inside, but you know what? I bet you they haven't completely finished the inside of this place. So that's probably why he didn't go in. Because there's a door. Oh, wait. See? He looked in, but he didn't really go in. You know. That was the airlock to get in. This was just a waypoint on his destination of where he's heading. But I love the vista. I love the platform, and you know, I think it's pretty cool. It looks like a bigger platform. You notice that landing pad looks a little bigger than what I'm used to on Olisar, and it might be because they need to offload cargo from like a hull series or something. I'm kind of just guessing on that one, but yeah, maybe not. Maybe it's about the same. No, it looks bigger. I don't know. Maybe it is about the same size. Maybe it's standard size. What is that parked over on the right? Is that a... Oh, I didn't even notice that before. Is that a Starfare? Yes, it is. Look at that. I didn't notice that before. Okay, now he's leaving, and he's going to be heading off to the next planet. Okay, which brings me to my... this brings me to my... next topic, which is the quantum time. Okay, now he's going to go to Hurston, I do believe, from ArcCore. It's 23 million kilometers. Okay, he pulls up his Moby-Glass, which has the map of the system. He finds ArcCore, he finds Hurston, he sets his waypoint, and then he's got set destination on his mobiGlass, which I can barely see actually. But once you get to learning it, I guess you'll figure it out. And then he goes to quantum, because now he's got the destination set. It looks like he's gone to faster than cruise, because you can like go to afterburner and then you could double afterburner. That's a new thing they've done. You can double afterburner and then you can go to quantum. So he goes to quantum, right? And this quantum jump from one planet to the other takes about 8 minutes. They make a comment about how it takes about 8 minutes. You guys can time it if you'd like. Do you think that is long enough? Do you think that is too long? Do you think it's the right amount of time? What is your opinion? I'm curious to know what your opinion is. If you want to put it in chat, go ahead and put it in chat. I am looking at chat right now. And I'm displaying chat on the screen, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner. But I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's long enough. I really don't. And I know everybody's impatient. You just want to hit quantum and then 2 seconds later come out at the next planet. Yeah. Okay, so Goose, you're on the same page with me. You're thinking it's not long enough, right? And of course it's going to be based on the distance of the planets. Exactly. And I can't say that 8 minutes is a good amount of time or a bad amount of time yet. We're going to have to get into the game and we're going to have to figure it out. But I want long times. The reason why I want long times and not just give it to me easy, give it to me now, is because it will be more complicated, and I'm looking for more complicated. I want it to be more complicated for strategists. People that are trying to organize an attack on a base. If you could get your entire org to a planet in 2 minutes, then what's the benefit of planning ahead? You don't need to plan. Just bring everybody you got and they'll all be there, Or if there's no need to worry about leaving people behind to defend your base if you're only 2 minutes away when you're attacking. So let's say we attack a base, this first naval airspace, right? Let's say we all go attack a base. And then somebody at home, AI or otherwise, says, we're being attacked at our base. We could just turn around and go back, and it would only be 2 minutes away. No, I think that is too easy, right? I don't want it to be that way. I don't want my opponent to not have to worry about defending his base, because as soon as we attack, they just show up. No, it would make it not worth it. It would make it not fun to plan ahead. And I'm kind of into the whole strategy layer, trying to think, okay, well, this planet is over here. I've got to go through this planet and this wormhole, and then quantum over here to get fuel, and then jump over here. I want to have to do that. If you don't have to do that, it becomes meaningless. There's no and this, they're showing right there on the screen how they can build an Arc Core city block. They're just picking and choosing and placing in these blocks what types of buildings are in each of those blocks. And then boom, there it is in front of you. So it's too easy to do that. And you notice he's still in quantum. So my point is, on the quantum, I don't know if 8 is long enough. It could be. 8 minutes is quite a bit of time. But let's say our organization is attacking a base. They're defending it, right? They got a couple of fighters defending the base. And we got a couple of fighters or bombers or whatever attacking a base. And we are making progress. We're about to win. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a ton of ships show up. And they were not even in the system. They were in another system. I'm going to call bullshit. And I'm going to be like, this is stupid, man. What the F? This is, why do we bother? And then on the flip side, let's say we're defending our base, right? And they jump in with a bunch of ships, and a ton of them, and we completely destroy them. We defeat them and crush them, and we're like, man, it was 100-1 and we won, right? We'd be all super excited. And then 2 minutes later, they turn around and show up again because they respawned and came back at us. I would go, bull, man, this is stupid. So I want, I'm sorry, I probably would never do that, but internally I would say it. But no, I want there to be consequences, just like death. I want there to be consequences. I want you to have to think about who you're going to send on the attack. I want you to have to think what kind of ship you're going to take on that attack, because we can't just switch out ships in the middle of the fight. If it takes 8, 10, 20 minutes to get from a planet to a planet, then you'll have to decide ahead of time. And it becomes a little bit more strategic. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I'd like to hear what you guys' opinion is about that. This is going to be up on YouTube when we're done. And drop it in the comments, and I will respond to those comments because I am very excited to hear about that. Yeah, so the guy's still in quantum, by the way. And they're just showing how to build interiors. And they're not planning on building an interior for every single building. They can, but that would just take up so much resources. They're only going to build, and I do believe that Sean Tracy already put a post out saying that only destinations are going to have their interiors built. You're not going to have every single building have an interior, because that would just be way too many resources to do that. Okay, well, this is still pretty cool, looking around inside of a base, checking things out while the guy's quantuming. I can't wait for Olisar and all these other bases to have interiors that I can run around in. I'm really excited about that. I like looking and finding new hallways and doors and secret passages and stuff like that. That kind of turns me on a little bit. I like all that stuff, and I'm glad they're thinking about things like that. This is just a builder. This is just a sandbox, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so he's still quantuming. Now, Chris originally said, maybe 2 years ago, he said he wants it to take about 20 minutes to go from one side of a system to another side of a system. Or maybe he said, maybe back up. Maybe he said from the center of the system to the outskirts of the system. He wants it to be about 20 minutes. That's also really cool because I don't know if you know anything about MMO construction or motivational, what do they call it? Hooks in an MMO. Every MMO out there has missions that you pick up in one city or town or village, and you have to go a bajillion miles away, either by horseback or by flying mount or wherever, to get to your destination to finish that. And then you got to go back to collect a reward from that. And a lot of those quests, like you're talking about, quests take time. And that's what he wants his missions to be. He wants them to take time. What's the motivation behind that? Well, if you have 10 missions and each one takes an hour, I'm exaggerating, takes an hour to finish, well, then you've just had to play the game for 10 hours to do those 10 missions. He wants that. He wants you to play a long amount of time. Plus, space is supposed to be big. It's supposed to be huge. And by making it huge, and by making it a long time to get to an objective, it subliminally or subconsciously makes you think, damn, space is big. And that's what you want. All right, so we're coming into Lorville, which is on Hurston, and we're going to check that out. Okay, he's zooming in. He's no longer quantuming. I think he's going to quantum again to the trade hub or whatever it is, hovering over. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. What is he doing here? There's his map. He zoomed in. He's checking out the map. That's pretty cool. He found the Lorville Gateway. That's where he needs to go. What's he doing? Perfect. And go. Without running into the building? No, without running into the planet. Yeah, I mean, I was getting excited because I'm sorry. I postponed making this video since Friday, basically, because there has been a lot of people on the forums, on Twitter, on Reddit, and all that stuff saying, oh my God, I don't want to fly 8 minutes. Oh, it's going to be a disaster. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. You know, and it was basically, I didn't know if I wanted to make this video or not, you know, but I knew I wanted to make the video, but I didn't know if I wanted to say, be quiet because, and put my 2 cents in there. But I want the flight times to be long. Now, do I want them to be 20 minutes long? Probably not. I don't want to have to quantum and then get up and go make a sandwich and get some coffee and come back and watch a episode of Stargate or something and then come back and then finally land in the next planet. I don't think I want to do that, but that is kind of cool also, because just think of Star Wars Episode 4. You know, they hire the Millennium Falcon, they leave Mos Eisley, they go into jump space. What do? They play chess. You know, they wander around the ship. They practice their sword fighting with this lightsaber and the floaty little ball. You know, you can't do that if you just hit a button and all of a sudden you're at the next location. You've got to have those times where you have to get up out of your chair, wander around, play some chess, do some gun fighting practice or whatever inside your ship or whatever. And that's kind of cool. But do I want to do that on every jump? Probably not. To be honest, probably not. You know? So 10 minutes is pretty good. That's right. That's right. In-game trade. What are they? Oh no. Don't even go to loot boxes. But no. Okay, so now we're on a different planet. A never before seen in-engine. You're seeing a lot of decimated planet here. It looks like it's been mined to the extreme, you know, and then you got pollutants going out in the ocean or the water, whatever it is over here. But it's still, it's not completely 100% different, but it's a little bit different. And the planet's got water on it for one thing. Our core didn't have that. I'm assuming it's water. And then they're going to fly. Now they said something about it's not going to be in game today, but they're going to work on if you fly low enough over the water, you'll have like the rooster tail of water behind you. That would be cool. Right now you just have these fake contrails. You know, contrails that wouldn't exist at this altitude or at this speed. But, you know, whatever. Maybe he's got some smoke generators. So this looks like a planet that I could get into, you know, exploring a little bit, landing, getting out, and checking out the fauna and the flora. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I do plan to go on safari. That is one of my in-game goals is to go on safari on the different planets and collect different types of uh, aliens and put them in my what do they call that? A gallery. You know, I'm gonna have all these stuffed animals, or maybe not. Maybe I'll just have heads laying everywhere. I don't know, but whatever they let me do, and that will be. That's kind of one of my motivations. You know, originally they said you can go collect a fish on every planet, and then put that in your aquarium, and that will be how you know that you've been on every planet or whatever. I'm gonna go one step further and get every single animal. So if I land on a planet and there's like 100 different animals, I'm going to have to go hunt them all down, you know. And I'm afraid that there's going to be like space tigers and lions and bears. Oh my. And then they'll come hunting me, and that'll be a challenge and fun as well, you know. So that's one of the things I want to do. I also want to establish like my own brothel. You know, maybe not exactly, but I'm just giggling. But okay, so he's just flying over, just kind of showing you the different landscapes and the way the planet looks barren and stuff like that. And I thought that was pretty cool. It's got a kind of different atmosphere. Hurston Dynamics is supposed to be a really bad company to work for, but and I could kind of see why. And their ruling family or whatever is in this building that looks like it was straight out of Blade Runner, or maybe what's that other one? The one with the cops. Central City? No. Mega City? Mega City? What kind of... Judge... The Dreads. Yeah, Judge Dredd. The Judges. Yeah. So it kind of looks like one of those type of buildings, or maybe from Blade Runner, or... hell, maybe even Star Wars. That building on the upper left-hand corner there, the one that overhangs like that. That's the main building of the ruling family on this planet. Which I think is pretty cool. It gives you someone to hate. And then you get a little closer. Now, I'm sure they created this little section here by hand. I'm sure they did. But they could have done it procedurally, using the procedural system, and then gone back in and handcrafted portions of it. That would be cool. There's the Hurston Dynamics logo, and then you got, I think it was Anvil over there. Yeah, this part here might have been procedurally generated. Looks like there's a landing zone right there, but he's not going to go there. What kind of ships are those? Hard to tell. And so he's going to fly by. Man, I just can't get enough of just looking at all this. Astro Armada right there. You can buy another ship. Misk. There's Misk. Bearing and something propulsion. I missed it. Voyager Direct. Yeah, so basically there's a little portion at the end of this that I'm going to have to give a thumbs down on. And I'll explain it here in a minute when it pops up, because I'm not going to say it was disappointing, but with everything else being in engine and the way it is, I was disappointed in this last piece. And I think they were trying to disguise it, but I don't know. I pretty much could tell that they faked it. So yeah, wait for that to come up. There's going to be a part up here that they faked, and I'm disappointed. But we'll talk about it. I like the fact that there's those monorails. That's pretty cool. And my understanding is you can take the monorail from place to place. You will be able to do that on Terra, so I don't see why you couldn't do that here on Hurston. This might be just a training bed or hub or whatever to learn how to get those monorails to work. Okay, so he lands in this. They call this a park, but it doesn't look like much of a park to me. I mean, these plants are in there and everything. It's kind of decrepit looking, but that's cool though. Don't get me wrong. That's super hot, but it looks kind of, I don't know, fallout. Like radioactive dead. And they said that is exactly why these plants grew this way, is because humanity started to destroy the ecology or whatever, and so they had to evolve and they came out a different way. And I thought that was pretty cool. We must have been there a long time. Okay, so plants look good. Are they blowing in the wind? It kind of looks like they might be. I like these tuber plants. I don't know what they're called, with the little leaves on the top and the thick, fat bodies. It's because those look like you could take cover behind them and shoot, your rifle around them, and that's cool. I'm always looking for that kind of like right there, you go prone and nobody would ever see you. Get a ghillie suit on. But I don't know if this is really considered a park to me. I like the cactus looking things. Those look pretty cool. Super excited about that. I'm excited about the plants. And I'm also more excited about the fauna when they start showing us that. And that'll come up. Okay, so he's got his heart rate up. His O2's not disappearing like it did in the other demo. It went down way too fast. I don't know how many of these buildings you can go into or whatever. They didn't really show any of that. But he does, like, there's a cell phone network right there with the flashing light. But right here in the little garage is a Knox. And I understand the Knox still has some bugs and it's got some issues. Okay, he's looking up at a building. That's pretty cool. Yep. Okay, if you watch the Knox, it'll fall to the ground as soon as he gets close to it. So that's kind of a problem. Bonk. And then he gets in it. I'm sure it levitates up again or whatever, and when he activates it, because the power was off. And it jumps around and skips over stuff and stuff like that. And I'm sure this is all live, and the Knox still has bugs, and they're just hoping and praying that it'll work. And that's okay. I don't mind if there's some bugs, because, hey, it's alpha. Yeah. But here at the very end, he's going to jump around. They talked about how these AI don't really do what they're supposed to do and stuff like that. I don't care. They can iterate on that and make the AI look better and better each time. That's fine. They don't have to be perfect the first time through. You know what I'm saying? So he hits a bump, and look at that. He's flying. But that's okay. And Chris is saying that he's showing off. I don't think he's showing off. I think he's just had to hit a bug. Yeah, and there's another one. He's on his way to somewhere. Look at that. There's a pipe right there. I thought that was pretty cool. There's a lot of things in this demo that I could go back and probably watch 4 or 5 times and still never see everything, Okay, so he gets up here and they talk about the AI up here. He stops the bike and gets off, and there's a monorail going by. What does that say? Entrance. Habitation. Okay, so that's pretty cool. But coming up here, they're gonna show some crabs, right? Some local. Okay, those guys don't have helmets on, so there must be air on this planet. Okay, so at the end of this hall here, they're gonna show you some crabs, But the problem that I have with this demo, and the Nox falls to the ground, is that those crabs were pre-animated. It's not done in-game. And it was like, everything's great, everything's great, everything's great. And then, oh, really? Okay, so, and it might have been a last minute thing. They said, hey, let's show them some crabs, and then they said, well, we don't have them animated yet, so let's just fake it. And that's what they did. And, I mean, I could be lying or I could be mistaken, but you see how he's walking, you see his vitals, and you see all that stuff. And then it changes to a cut scene when he gets to the end. I was kind of disappointed with that. But, yeah, what can you do? Got this crane up ahead, with the little rags flying up, flags flying off it. That's pretty cool. Looks like it would walk, too. Okay, right here at this rail, he's going to walk up. Is that a girl? That's a girl, right? Boop. Notice how it changed? Cut to a cutscene. We're in a cutscene. Cool looking bugs. They really are. I'm going to be hunting them. They're probably going to be one of the first things I get. But, yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for coming out and checking out my opinions and my recap of the show. And I'll catch you next time.